Great. So, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Groovy Puzzlers. I'm happy to say this is the fourth consecutive row, second time in Greach already. I'm really excited because we're going to have a lot of fun. Well, my name is Noam. I work at Healthy.io. You can reach me out through these medias if you want to ping, ask questions about the puzzlers or anything. It's all good. Now, today I'm also joined by a very special guest. You guys might know him. El Groovyssimo! El Groovyssimo.
How's everybody feeling today? Are you feeling groovy? Exactly.
Great. So, just a few words before we get started with the puzzlers. First off is a big thanks to JFrog. JFrog kindly support the Groovy community through a few ways. First off, well, they host Groovy. They also hosted also on Factory and also on Bintray, and heavy users of Grails as well. And well, all the plugin system in Artifactory is built with Groovy, and the Grails plugins also hosted on Bintray in turn. So thanks JFrog for the t-shirts and for curating the puzzlers. So first off, how many of you have already been in a puzzlers talk? Raise your hands.
Yeah, plenty.
Not
awesome.
bad. So if you're not familiar with the concept, we'll go through it quickly. The idea has been conceived by Josh Block and the other guy whose name I forget. But they start out as a typing brothers, and at Java 1 they started doing this game show called Java Puzzlers, where basically they take like weird Java code and together with the crowd they'd ask and try to figure out what the code does. That was very tiresome because normally each puzzle was like 3 slides long and maybe font 10 or something. So this is going to be just a little lighter. If you've ever seen the Java Puzzlers or read the book, this is just going to be a little lighter than normal. So what's going to happen? First, you're going to see 2 entertaining guys on stage. Those are not us. It's other people. We're just doing the intro. We're going to ask you some questions, groovy questions.
And you better answer them right.
Yes. And, well, the important thing here is voting. So if you think of take your time, think of the answer, try to vote, but it's very important that you participate. Otherwise, well, that's the format, and you've broken the format, and whatever. So whoever gets a correct answer might win a JFrog t-shirt, a really cool JFrog t-shirt, I might say. So it's better if you vote. And we'd love if you tweet this out, talk, give us your opinion. Is this official hashtag, the Groovy Puzzlers. Okay. So first rule of puzzlers is no cheating. We know you've got laptops, we know you've got smartphones, we know you're sitting to some really really smart people. Try to solve this on your own. We assure you everything works as expected, and it's a lot more fun this way. So every puzzle which we talk about today has already been tested on the engine, on the latest one, 2.4.10, and you're free to take the examples and try it out yourself as well. So, are we all ready? Yeah.
Are we ready for groovy?
Great. So, first one, first. This is not a typo, because if you're familiar like with blog posts and Reddit, always the first post is not constructive feedback, it's always frist. So this is the same thing, it's not very constructive, but it's puzzlers. So let's see what's going on. So, first puzzle is we declare an array list. We have 2 elements, frist and yas, because we love grammar. And then we take the 4th element of the array list and try to print it out. And we ask you, what do you think the result would be?
So who says it's going to be option number 1? No. Just a few hands. Okay, up there. Null pointer exception. That's what should happen in Java, no? No. It won't even compile? Okay. Or is it going to be a not such element exception?
Smart people.
Awesome. I really like
smart
that one.
people.
Well,
Great.
guess what? It's not that one.
You lose. Yeah, so it's a null value, which is going to get printed.
You guys are still thinking in Java.
So who answered yes?
Over there.
Over there, I see a few people. El Groovyssimo. Dish him out with a t-shirt, not a punch.
So, you got a name, Spider Frog.
Need to work on the muscles.
No.
So what's going on? Let's see what's going on. Before we try to see what's going on, can the dude who guessed the right answer try to maybe explain why he thought what he thought?
So why is null?
I have no idea, but I've seen this happening before. I didn't act deep enough to understand what is going on, but I remember having a list that is shorter than what the index I asked for, and it gave me now what the index scored me an exception.
So we want our shirt back.
Yeah, exactly. Give it back.
Just kidding. Give the man his shirt back.
Okay, so who knows the answer? It's an array list. Okay,
True,
so what does
yes.
that mean?
So default capacity is like 50 or something like that, and it's and index is going to be that. So
It's a
Actually,
good guess.
that answer is not correct.
But it's a good guess. It's a really good explanation. So the actual explanation is, well, using the square brackets to access an index, so it calls a default method, one of the Groovy default methods.
Does anybody know the name of the default method? Exactly. Get
Exactly.
at.
So let's look at getAt, what's going on. So we can see that within getAt, you have the index which you're trying to access, and if the index is larger than the size, then just return null. Simple as that. No smarty pants, array list, capacity, access. Who even remembers that stuff?
Good guess, but it wasn't.
Yeah. So thank you, Jeff Scott Brown, for that puzzler. We appreciate it. Next up, well, Han shoots first, but El Groovyssimo punches first.
Yeah.
So beware.
Whoever says that Han did not shoot first, I was about to say something about Jar Jar Binks, but let's leave it like that.
Okay. So what does first look like? Pretty similar, same sort of theme. We have three array lists. One is initialized with 3 elements, the other one is empty, and the third one is initialized with null. So we ask what will be printed eventually in the statement where we access each first element of each list.
Who says it's going to be option number 1? Okay, a few more hands. Good. Option number 2. Less hands. Option number 3. Okay. And option number 4. Because null pointer can always happen, right?
Yeah. Okay, so, well, if you've guessed number 1, you were wrong, because there's no such element. And you might be asking yourself, why is there no such element? So, first off, who answered correctly? Very few people.
Go, Spider Frog.
Go Spider Frog. Can you try to guess why this has happened?
It's the second L2. That's actually an object, so it will call the method, but there is no element.
Nope. Nope, that's not true. Anyone else want to try and guess? Don't be shy. We're all losers here. So,
Well, no, he said he's going to call the get on the element, but there's no such thing as the element.
that's
On this one, on L2.
That's true, but I think it's not that one.
Close.
I might be wrong. I might be a loser as well. Okay, so if no one wants to guess, we'll talk about it, because that's how it works. So this time we call a different default method, different Groovy method.
It's not get at.
It's, well, it's first. So first also has like a security check, basically testing that it's not empty, that the array itself is not empty before we invoke it. So it looks like a bit of an inconsistent behavior, but it's for your own good. So as long as you use first and not index 0. But
Because, yeah, as you can see, we know that from the JDK, we had the first and the last methods in Java util array list. But this default Groovy method is targeting just the plain list type. The reason why the default JDK method is not invoked, but this one.
so how do we fix it, you might ask yourself? Well, you can normally just fall back to get at, which is just like square brackets, but you might want to do different checks, I guess, beforehand. It's a very simple solution.
And there is an upcoming change in the parser, the power parser that was mentioned earlier this morning. If you do the save navigation reference and then array subscript, then you can just do that instead of calling get at.
True. Great. So thank you for that, Jen. Cheers. Right. Let's go a little heavier into stuff.
Num 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 num.
Yeah. Now, we also try to remind you here that we're here to trick you. Okay, so puzzles could go as expected, they could go as unexpected, and they could explode in your face. So let's see the next one. We initialize a string variable with burgers, and then we have the number of bytes, which is a long value. And we also create a new map where the key is the value of burgers, and the value is an array list containing the bytes. Then we course there's a map, blah, 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 and print it out. So what will we see happening here?
Do we get a map like this one? Okay, half of you. Interesting. Option number 2.
Just with singular burger?
Use that one. Okay, no takers. Number 3. Nulls. Right?
Okay.
And number 4, it won't even compile. Ha! We tricked you.
Yeah, because it won't compile. Why won't it compile? Can you ask yourself? So who answered won't compile? Great. Nice catch. Can you try to explain? That's not the reason, I think.
No, it's not.
No. Anyone else want to give it a shot?
Yeah,
Sure,
show the
yeah.
code again.
So, just go back. Let's have a look at it again. Anyone else want to try and take a guess?
Does the extra parentheses have anything to do there?
Maybe the parentheses?
Is there
Everyone's
anything
puzzled.
there that looks suspicious? A casting? If it were a cast, then it would be a runtime exception. But this thing doesn't compile.
I think we should see why it doesn't compile.
Yeah.
Great. So, El Groovyssimo. The reason it doesn't compile is semicolon required after coercing to parameterize generic type containing parameterized generic type as its only last type argument when there's no space between the ending two parentheses. Or, in layman's terms, we read this as a bit shift operation.
Blah, 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 blah,
Wah,
blah.
wah,
Sad
wah.
trombone. See, that's what happens when you get generic excited into a dynamic language.
So, how do we fix it? Also fairly simple. Couple of ways. You can either split up the two parentheses or use that, which is like a fly in my soup.
Or, given that you have a def on this side, you don't care about the type, why do you define types over there?
Yeah. That is something you'd have to ask Guillaume. So thanks, Guillaume, who I don't think he's in the conference. No. So thanks for that, anyway, if you're watching this at home. Hi, Mum. So let's go to the next one, shall we?
Yeah.
Supersize me, like your muscles, El Groovyssimo. back into food. I was quite hungry when I wrote it. So we have an integer, which is evaluated as 0 at the beginning. That's a burger. And we have some fries, which will be double the burgers. But if I try to print it out, what will happen in Groovyssimo?
That looks like Markdown to me.
Yeah, it's a title.
Okay.
Why don't they use ASCII doc?
Yeah, exactly. Groovy Markdown. Okay, who says option number 1? Burger 1, fries 1. One person.
One brave soul.
Option number 2. Okay. Option number 3. No fries, no burger.
No fry, no burger.
Finally, it won't even compile. Ha! We tricked you again.
One burger, one fry. We were cheated. I paid extra for this, and I didn't get any extras. So, who guessed that one? There were a few.
Right over there.
Nice one. Sorry. So, can you try and take a wild guess as to why that would be broken? Sure.
So first of all, it is increasing the burger with the plus plus,
Yes.
but so burger is 1, but it's returning still 0 because no, otherwise it's returning 1 as well for the fries, and then it's increasing burger and returns the 1.
No.
It's first
No, it's first.
First.
Okay, it's taking the burger, then it's increasing the burger
Yeah.
with the plus plus on the left side. No, on the right side, I think first. So the burger is 1, then but no, it's first.
It's confusing. Yes, it's a
Confusing.
puzzle.
Yeah.
I think that int fries equals plus plus burger is evaluated to an int that is indivisible, and then that int is incremented afterwards, but it's not affecting the values of burger and fries.
That is sort of true.
It's close to it. So
Yes.
what is going on here is that you have to remember that Groovy has operator overloading. So these operators have been overloaded by method calls. And the order that those method calls get invoked will result in the actual value being assigned.
Yeah. So basically, it's also easy to demonstrate. If you take a new class and you override it with the next method and give it some sort of operation, and you do the exact same thing with the plus plus on each side, you'll see that the next method gets called twice, but it always gets called with the original value.
So the first call sets 0 to 1, and this one also sees 0 to 1. So that's why this value gets assigned 1, and this variable was incremented only once.
Great. So, thank you, Joe Wolf, for this one. Next up, kids, I don't know. It was for something with identical twins. Okay. Just a little tougher now. So, first, we store in one value 0 mod 20. And is everyone okay with the mod? Everyone familiar with the operation? Good. And then we divide 20 by 1 and do one small result of 0 mod, the value of that. So then we try to see if they equal one another. Now, are they equal?
So who says option number 1, they are equal? True.
Equal true.
Right?
Okay.
Who says it's false? Option number 2. Okay, who says it's number 3, unsupported operation exception? Okay, you are very eager.
Yeah, he almost jumped up.
Yeah.
I think he wants a fight.
Option number 4, it won't compile. No one.
No one.
Interesting.
Okay. So whoever answered... Wait, what do you say?
My
Groovyssimo.
answer is that 1 does nothing because it actually is the power of the group that does everything in community. So they should be equal.
Yes. And there's no I in we.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's an unsupported operation. The dude who jumped up, can you try to explain why that happens?
On the second line, you are converting two integers to some kind of double or float, and then you are doing a modulo operation with a float, which is not acceptable, and so it throws exception.
That's not a float, is it?
It's
It's
not
a big
float.
decimal.
Yeah, but he's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
It's a floating point number, even
Yeah.
though it looks like an integer number.
Yeah. So what basically happens is that on the first operation, both sides are integers. That's right. But the division will automatically be created as a big decimal value in Groovy.
Here's one interesting thing. When you try to do the following thing in Java, is you put an L there, what's going to be in the type of division? It's going to be a long division, and by default it's integer. If you put an F or D there, it's going to change that number to a float and or a double, and that's going to give you trouble. What happens if in Groovy you put an L or an I there? Do you get an integer division or you get a floating point division? Think about it.
In the end, it all falls down to the default methods. So calling mod actually calls function mod. And in turn, when it has to create the operation, it will actually check if it's on a floating point or a decimal as well. So, way to go, you guy. And fixing it, well, it's not very clear because as an operation, it's kind of questionable. So you'd probably want to create an int value out of one of the results, or just do the remainder operation with a big decimal, then create from it an int value. Not quite sure what Yuri was trying to achieve here, but thanks, Yuri. Next up, Hitchhiker's Guide, one of the best books I've ever read. So what's the answer to this? I have a static method, which is pretty long. It's nice, clean code, and returns the value 42. And then I just try to print that. Or I try to print the result of the method. What do you think will happen?
Do we get the answer to life and universe and everything?
Who can guess number one? They don't trust us anymore in Groovyssimo.
Okay, who says it's going to be a missing method exception?
Missing method.
Wow.
Okay.
You guys had coffee, didn't you? Who says it's going to print out some closure?
Wow.
I see.
Smart
Okay,
people.
and then who says this thing won't even compile? Aha. Just because we had one compile in the other cases, or because it will actually won't compile?
But, guys, you were right. It truly won't compile.
Any guesses?
Why won't it compile? Can anyone try to guess?
It's not searching for the static property, but for the getter.
Oops. That's all the way to the back. It looking for a get property.
For the get, the answers to the life and the universe and everything.
No. Mario?
I think it's because it doesn't know whether it's a closure or if it's a scope.
There you go. That's the right answer.
And the guy is correct. People are really kind here. Or
Yes.
that they really don't want the t-shirts. I don't know.
Come on, it's a spider frog.
That's true. So this case is too ambiguous, and it doesn't know if really to return a code block or a closure. And this can be fixed quite easily. Either be explicit with your return statement, or as El Groovyssimo mentioned, will be fixed with a parrot.
This is fixed in the parallel parset, but this is another fix that you can do. It's easy. If you don't want to use return, then use an arrow here. Because you know that if you do not define the arrow in the closure, it will take a 0 or 1 argument. But if you put the arrow, then you can explicitly say how many arguments it takes.
Excellent. Thank you, Guillaume, once again. Okay, next up, I hope you're not too tired. Dollary, Slashy, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey regex. So, are you guys familiar with the $/regex syntax? I think it's a not very known feature of Groovy, but well, basically it gives us regex matching, but just a bit different than the normal one. So if we surround the expression with two dollar signs and two slashes, we get something which is a bit more specific in the usage. So one thing is the fact that we can insert slashes, and we don't have to we don't have to escape them. And another feature which is really special, I've never used it, but you can actually have multi-lines in your regex pattern. So that's a really cool feature. Use at your own risk, because what will be the result? Print line.
Let's see some answers.
Let's see some answers.
Okay, so who says it's going to be answer number 1? The doctor.
Just plain old regex. 2 string on regex.
No one. Option number 2, no.
No.
There's no such thing as a doctor.
Aye.
Wow. Number 3 is going to print out some pattern.
Pattern.
Okay. And again,
Won't
option
compile.
number 4, it won't compile.
Yeah.
I started to see a pattern here.
Yes.
I mean, pun intended. I think I broke Noam.
You're correct. It won't compile.
Okay, but now before.
Yes.
Okay. Why it won't compile?
There is a star slash that closes a comment.
No.
No.
Over there? You are very excited.
Groovy is so crazy.
No? Spider frog going once?
Can you go back to the slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, can anyone take another guess? Try to think back to previous versions of the puzzlers.
Oh, it's the space.
What space?
The space and time?
TARDIS is in
Continuum?
space, yeah.
You need to put an extra parentheses
What sort of parentheses?
between so print line parentheses.
Uh-huh.
Why?
Groovy.
Noam said, please remember previous versions of Groovy Puzzlers, so you fix everything with an extra bar of parentheses.
Like an enclosure and Lisp.
So I guess it's creating an object or invoking method, some kind of a method call by this syntax. And because of the print line, it doesn't know whether it doesn't have an argument to execute it against.
It actually does have an argument, but it has the wrong argument.
Yeah, so if we carry on, see the result. Well, Ivan was correct.
Because what is this? What do we usually use with this character? To define or to use
That's a G string. isn't it?
variables. That's a Groovy string. Okay? Is that a valid identifier? Is that a valid character for an identifier? No, it's not.
Don't argue with him.
So this turns out to be a parser error.
Yeah.
But you can fix it.
Yeah, you can fix it if you listen to McCarthy.
Yeah.
And he's back. Or, alternatively,
Or you can use a parrot parser, which, by the way, is already available in Groovy 2.50 Alpha 1. The binary should be available pretty soon because it was voted yesterday. No, it was voted on Wednesday. And so instead of just going to a very weird URL, to download it, it should be available in SDK either today or tomorrow. So
Yep.
please give it a try as soon as possible, because there have been many errors in the parser that have that occurred in the past that no longer occur in the future now. But there may be some other things that we may be missing. So your early feedback is really, really very, very welcome.
yeah, and thanks to Daniel for submitting this on the user group.
He's the one that is writing the parrot parser, by the way.
He should know. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he's writing the puzzles in order for you to entertain yourself. But anyway,
So let's get a little more psychedelic, because if you were in Bert's keynote, so you know there's some good stuff going on. Let's get a little bit more weird. So we define a closure, which accepts one parameter, and then it prints that parameter. Then we invoke the closure with a string, or G-string, containing the literal double vision and the closure double vision.
Confused?
So are we. Take your time on this one, I think. We can go for a coffee.
So option number 1 says print double vision plus an enter because of the print line, I suppose, and then double vision, right?
So who guesses number 1? Double vision, double vision.
Then, or it could be double vision and prints the reference to a closure. All right.
Okay, that's a bit
Method not found exception.
it could
or-
be.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Double vision and null.
Now, not everyone is voting, and we had an agreement.
Okay.
Okay,
So who voted for option number 1? Huh.
one brave soul. Sir, you are right. It prints double vision.
But why is that the correct option? The closure gets called inside the string, yes.
That's right.
But
How does it get called within?
we should get 2 in that case instead of 1.
Okay, so you might be thinking to yourself, so are we. So I think we should break it down, El Groovyssimo.
Okay,
Let's
let's do
break
that.
it down. So we started out with the closure, calling the closure and the closure value. True. So we invoke the double vision closure with a G string, which contains the literal and the closure reference itself. Now, print line prints the G string, and the way this is being printed is basically the instance of G string opening up a new string writer. Then it writes the literal of double vision, all fine until now. But what happens when the G string detects a closure inside one of the variables? And what happens in this case is this. This basically says that whenever you place a reference to a closure within a G string, so that closure will be invoked, but with a string writer that prints that string. Meaning, we invoke the double vision again with the string writer that created it, or that called it, which already contains the value of double vision. So basically, it writes double vision to a string writer, then invokes the string writer once again with print line, which already holds the value, so we get twice the double vision. Simple, I think.
Yeah. This is not a puzzle at all.
It's not a puzzle. But I think
So
I
who
think a
gets-
guy deserves a t-shirt just for the brave.
Who gets the t-shirt? Yeah, you get a t-shirt.
Great. So, thanks for that, puzzler. No proper credit, but this is how it goes through email. Next up, Dr. Octopus. That's like a Marvel character, isn't that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Onwards to glory. Why don't I have an octopus like that? Okay. So we've got a static method called hello and receives one variable, untyped. Then it returns a map with a value of 9 as a string, and the key of 9 as a string, and the value of a G string, taking the parameter and putting it inside the value. So we invoke the method called hello with 9, and then we print the result. What do you think?
Is it going to be, the result is going to be a map? Option number 1? One hand. So option number 2? option number 3? Or option number 4? You are not very confident about this one.
Yeah, I'll teach you to mess with El Groovyssimo.
So I'm happy to say that whoever chooses option number 2
2.
is correct.
You win. You
But
win
why?
the internet, sir.
Why is that the case?
I think the variable really given to the method is 0, just 0. So you get the map and then you get the value of the key 9.
Why? Why? Why this 0 is sent to the value of n instead of 0, 9?
Why is 9 dropped? I heard someone.
It's an octal literal, but how many characters are in an octal literal? What are the valid characters? No? Yes? But that was 09. Exactly. It's supposed to be an octal, but 9 is not. So what happens? The parser gets confused.
Yeah, so very good about that.
Yeah.
Both of you.
Any literal that begins like this one, any number, should be an octal one. But 9 is not a character within the range. So the parser goes back and says, I'm not going to use it to generate the octal number. So I'm going to stop at 0, and then 9 becomes what? It doesn't dangle. What happens with that one?
Look at the AST code.
So we generate the AST code, and what's going on here? Definitely the 0, and there says, because, what happens with the parentheses? What is happening here is a command expression. So we invoke the method with just 0, which returns a map, and then what do we do with that map? .9. What is .9? It's a method called to do what? Property access on a map gives you what? Is just calling the get on the key. So 9 is a string and is read as a key on the map. Because the parser got confused. But if we were to put parentheses around this, what do you get? You get a parser exception because it's an invalid octal number.
Yeah. I think they have a headache on Groovissimo. But thanks, Sergey, for this. It's a very good one. Next up, travel time. We know. Okay, so
Groovy.
So this is some real voodoo. So we create a new instance of a Todos object, but the class itself is declared within the anonymous. And the class has a method which returns a string.
Everybody knows that TARDIS is bigger on the inside.
Yes. So we print the value of the invocation travel. What will happen?
So who says he won't compile? This time it's option number 1, it's not option number 4.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a GroovyCast exception? Number 2.
It's static, it's shifty stuff. Maybe it's static.
It's going to print out it's Madrid and it's the year 1799. Okay.
Okay.
And method not found exception, number 4. Okay. Well, those of you that guessed it won't even compile, guess what? You're wrong again.
You lose, suckers.
Because now we get the right time. Why? Why is that? So who said number 3? I saw a few hands over here.
Because it's static definition, it gets valid before it's
No. Can you show the code again?
Show the code again.
The definition is inside the class, and we're using the class before it's actually defined. The fact that it's a static should not be a problem. Actually, you have to use a static, but that's not the reason. No, this is a class definition.
It's like an anonymous.
There's an anonymous class. Yes, this fails in Java because that would be a forward reference, but how many phases does the Groovy compiler have? 9.
Like hell.
Do-
Like the 9 levels of hell.
Yes. Do you know what's the name of phase number 4? Resolution. What happens during resolution? All types get resolved. So what the compiler does, well, actually, the answer, we asked this to Jochen Theodoru.
Wait, so we need to display the official answer from
Yeah,
Groovy
exactly.
developers.
So we asked Jochen about this one.
So our good friend Andres forwarded this to me. So no solution, I'm afraid.
So what we think is happening is that during the resolution phase, all types get resolved, such as the TARDIS type. So when the next phase begins, the TARDIS type has been resolved, so you can call new on it. So the forward reference becomes a real reference. Yeah, Groovy is magic.
That's true. He's right. Okay. Thank you very much, Daniil, for this. This is a good one as well. Okay. So this session is coming to a close. We've just got a few last words for this one. So what have we learned today? First is don't write bullshit code. Don't take any lessons from here. But not everything is always ideal, so if you do have something special which is just like a necessity, well, comment it. Yeah. You've also learned that sometimes it's just a bug, because compilers have bugs, which is fine. But a huge way to avoid most of these puzzles are also using static analysis, or a strong one which we always recommend is IntelliJ. They don't pay us, we just like it. And last but not least is always RTFM.
It's written in ASCII doc, so it's good.
Yeah. Also, like I said, this is the 4th time we're doing this, once a year, twice a year. So maybe next time in uniform. I don't know. We also promised that last year, and it didn't happen. So we need like the Lucha uniform.
I got the intro this time.
Okay, and also very important, if any of you find your own puzzlers, submit them either to this email or to our Twitter feed. We really appreciate it, and we'll send you a t-shirt, and Ivan can attest to that. We always pay our debts. And also, if you've got positive feedback, tweet, mail, whatever. And if you've got negative feedback, well...
There's also a place to put it.
Yeah. And there's no file in Unix to describe that. So, so thank you very much for participating, everyone.